Let me guess, there's this one girl in your life and you think she's special, and you have been known each other for maybe 6 months, a year, or long period of time. Maybe she's from your gym, maybe she's from your office, or maybe she's from a social circle that you know. And it just seems like things are not moving ahead with her. There was maybe a little bit of chemistry, maybe a little bit of flirtation, but she's not invested enough as I'm invested in her. And she might have also rejected you once or twice, but you still cannot get over her. You still cannot move on. And you feel there is a potential relationship that is missing. There was some potential that was untapped in the interaction or the relationship with her. So today I'm going to explain exactly why this happens. How do you move on from that one girl who you think is special and your mind has amplified her, and maybe you're constantly thinking about her, whereas she is not even thinking about you. Maybe she does not even care. Hi, this is Prayan. And before we move ahead, let me give you a short story about me, where even I was stuck in the same situation where you might be stuck right now. And I remember clearly, that was years ago when I first went to the gym. And when there was this one girl, we had like an instant spark, we had eye contact, slight bit of teasing and flirtation. And I thought this interaction would go somewhere, ahead. And like in very short amount of time, months went by, weeks went by. I did not ask her out. I did not even ask her number, nothing, no contact, no social media, nothing. And there was just like flirting and investment. Whenever I went for the number or whenever I tried to ask her out, she had little bit of resistance, so I couldn't completely ask her out. So then I felt like, oh, I don't know where this is going. But what that did actually was it kept me in a loop of maybe, the loop of endless possibilities. What if this interaction goes in this direction that I'm thinking of? What if it goes here, right, where I'm thinking of? So basically, I was trying to imagine scenarios that did not even exist, and I was invested more than she was invested in me. Like, I was thinking more than she was thinking about me. So that's where, suddenly I started chasing. Maybe it felt like an obsessive way of, trying to stalk her on social media, trying to get to know if she's dating some other guys, or is she not into me, or is she just being a flirt. So, cut short, I dived deep into whatever it was. I found out a lot of things that had kept me in that situation back then. And today I'm going to share those reasons with you, and I'm also going to help you get out of this completely. So stick to the end of the video, and by the end of the video, you're gonna have enough information and you're gonna have enough practical wisdom to actually how to get out of it, move on completely, how to break through this pattern once and for all. So let's begin. So you need to understand first of all what is actually happening in your brain. If you're stuck in the loop of, you feel that you're chasing and she's not even like responding or reciprocating the same way. Now, what happens is if she had given you a smile or like eye contact or something like that, and your brain kind of might have amplified it to consider this as a sign of attraction. And so your brain released a chemical called dopamine, after which, what happened is you felt like things go as you wanted in your mind. And so you felt addicted. But the reality is you weren't addicted to her. You were just addicted to the uncertainty, to the possibilities, to the maybe where this would have led us in the future. So your addiction is not to the person, it's actually to the possibilities of maybe, what ifs. Because of this endless possibilities, it creates stronger attachment with that person, because you're imagining possibilities with that person together. So this kind of keeps you in that addictive loop of chasing. Imagine if she had given you a clear yes or no, this situation would have not been the same. You would have got a clear yes or a clear no, and you would have been done. It's a clean no. There's no zero possibilities going ahead. Your mind, your brain would have stopped pursuing her. Your brain would have stopped putting efforts for that one girl who you think is special. So you understand this thing, right? This maybe kind of thing, it keeps you hooked to that girl, and even the girl kind of subconsciously knows that this guy is like hooked on to me, and she also does not give you clarity for the simple reason that she's feeling validated, because in her life, there's one guy who's like crazy behind her. He wants this. He wants like my attention, and because if the girl said a clear no, like you would have moved on, and the attention and the energy that you were giving to the girl would have not been there. So even the girl is kind of sucking and feeding off that energy. So think of it like you going to casino and you're trying to bet, and the body feels, oh, what's going to happen, because you don't know the possibilities of either you're going to win or you're going to lose. So same thing with that girl, that every time you meet her or every time you text her, you don't know what's going to happen. So that's like the same addiction like gambling. Like think of it like your brain is gambling and she's the slot machine, and every time you bet on her by putting efforts, and seeing trying to put effort, not even giving it full effort, full yes or no. Like win it all or lose it all. If you are all in, you would either lose it all or win it all. So you are in that zone where, oh, what's going to happen? That's kind of addictive. And the second reason is when you put thoughts and you continuously think of one person for a longer period of time, what your mind does, it kind of amplifies and exaggerates this person's value, and that person becomes more valuable than it actually should be. So your mind is kind of playing games right here that you don't even know. So after like this thing starts happening in your brain, what you'll notice, you'll do small little things, like you start putting extra efforts, or you start putting like you'll start adjusting your timings to her timings, where she's going, what she's doing. You'll like start investment from your side, and this is kind of a false investment trap that you should be aware of. Like imagine you start also imagining scenarios, future dates, future romantic scenarios with her that might not even be possible, and you kind of are stuck and attached to that possibility. So what will happen is like you'll also think of the small little conversations you had, the small little smiles and the small little eye contacts that you exchange with her. You'll repeat it, and the more you repeat it, you are just doubling down on the false investment trap. It's like a company is going bankrupt and you're betting $1 million on that company. And let's say you bought shares of those companies for $100, and the shares have gone down to like 70 and 50, and it keeps going down, but you still are putting more and more money, thinking that you might get a chance to recover it. It's like putting more efforts because you have already put so much efforts. So, but you know that the company is like, it's on a downfall. So it's a false investment trap that your mind has put you in as well. So you see here what's happening is, by doing so, you just have narrowed down your options to that one person, to that one company that you're continuously investing in. Whereas what about her? She has a good social life. She has thousands of men hitting her on Instagram. Maybe she's on dating app. Maybe she's like getting all the attention from the events she's going, party she's going, wherever. So you see, she's more emotionally diversified than you are, and that's why it kind of hurts you more, and you feel that the other person is heartless. That's not the case. You are just too invested. That's the hard truth. You need to realize the person with fewer options falls harder, and it hurts even more harder. Also, talking about the possibilities of your relationship, the maybes, the what if this will happen this way. It's kind of a phantom loop that your mind is running about that person, because there was a spark, there was some interaction, and we did kind of agree to go on a date, but we did not go on a date. We were talking about certain things, but nothing went ahead. So you're stuck in this phantom loop of like you chasing ghosts that were in the past, and it kind of still haunts you in the present because you thought the loop is still unfinished, and somewhere your mind is trying to finish the loop. Your mind is trying to finish the stories that once were made in the past by your brain. No, it was 90%, 99% of the time, it was just your brain that had made those stories up. So instead of moving on, your mind, what it does best what it's good at. It tries to solve it. And it will try to solve it by either getting a real life end to the story, a real conclusion to the story, a resolution to it. And just because your mind wants a closure, you kind of start chasing the resolution. You kind of start chasing the closure more than the girl. So you think you're chasing the girl, but you're actually kind of chasing the resolution of the story that you have in your mind, that you had imagined. So if you understand biological side of it as well, or the mating psychology behind this, women have selective filters. If she is an attractive girl, she has more options. So she will be filtering harder than any average man out there. Why? Biologically, men were wired to be competitive persuaders. They were wired to compete and initiate. And women were wired to just filter out hard. So what's happening is your nervous system is going in the scarcity mode, especially if you're just initiating all of your energy towards a single girl and you're not trying your chances on other girls. No, you're not having options basically open. So what that does is your body looks at this situation as a survival mating situation, where you just have one option, and if you don't get to mate, your genes would be completely wiped out of existence. Now this might sound very dramatic, but it's biologically very real. Now imagine her nervous system in this situation where she has thousands of options. So the nervous system is much more relaxed, at ease and social. So whenever you try to talk her, she can sense your nervous system is leaking out that dense energy of scarcity. It's like, oh, you just want it, precious, precious. So it's a terrible situation to be in. First of all, you need to diversify your energy. You need to talk to more girls. That's the only way that you can move on. If we go back to the things that we discussed earlier about the phantom looping, you trying to chase the attachment, the stories that you build, the endless possibilities of maybe, what if. So all these things, especially if you go deep down, it comes from a place of ego and validation. It's like your masculinity is not intact, so it's like deviated from your purpose to this one single girl, and the center is now the girl. It's not you anymore. So when she doesn't choose you, what happens is your ego, your status, your masculine identity, it kind of gets a hit. And when it gets a hit, instead of strengthening the identity and staying centered and grounded, you kind of derail and you make her the center so that you can validate your own ego, you can validate your masculine identity, your status, or whatever, no? So right now, if you are in that situation, you're not even chasing that girl, you are not even in love, you're not even attracted to the girl. It's just ego games right now for you. And because it's like an ego game, you're gonna be doubling down on all of your chances, all of the efforts that you might have with that girl. And this will actually backfire if you go from a place of ego. She would obviously sense it and she would not choose you, right? And then if she doesn't choose you, you again like take a hit on your ego, like, why am I not chosen? Why not me? Why this other person who is not even good looking, who's cannot even talk properly, is less charismatic than me, whereas I am like a lot more charismatic. She was actually more into me than the other guy like she's currently with. So it kind of like gets more hurt and you kind of lose more and more center, and the center now becomes her, because you're thinking more of her social life, you're thinking of more of her love life, you're thinking more about her feelings than you're thinking of yourself. And the reason you're doing that is not because you care for her, it's because the way she's become a part of your ego now, and a detached like a part of your ego that is that has not been claimed fully. So you think just by winning her, you can satisfy your ego or you can claim your own masculine identity. So that's a very vicious rabbit hole to be in, honestly. And for the most early years of my life in my college days, I was struggling to that a lot. And right now, looking back at it, I understand why things were going the way they were back in those days. So now let's come back to the brutal truth. So if months have passed, years have passed, and nothing is moving forward, she's not reciprocating. It's just not because she's not confused or things are not clear yet. It's just that she's not choosing you. So you need to accept that harsh reality. If she wanted, she would give you chances. If she was attracted, if she really wanted things to go ahead, she would give you chances. She wouldn't let the things be stagnant, ambiguous, maybe kind of a loop. And right here, the true masculine strength would not be to convince other person to choose you. It would be just to walk away with complete acceptance and without resentment and keep moving on in your life and keep growing. So, how do you actually get over this situation or scenario that you are in, this vicious trap? No. So, number one thing is you need to increase exposure. Your brain needs more exposure to more possibilities of girls rather than having more possibilities from that one single girl. You need to have possibilities with more girls. So what that will do is it will kind of rewire your dopamine system, and your dopamine will actually not be fixated to that one person. It will kind of start seeking dopamine from newer possibilities, from meeting new people, from meeting new girls that can be your potential mating partner in the future. So here what I want you to do is kind of completely cut off expectations from that one person and start talking to other girls, outside the gym, outside office, or outside the social circle. So abundance would help you in this a lot. And number two is you need to stop micro-investing. You need to stop checking on her, what's going on in her life, who is she talking to, is she flirting back, is she not? Like, you need to stop even stalking her on social media, what's going on in her life, where is she, everything. These are like micro investments that you need to stop. So you need to also stop any possibilities of scenario, at least for now. At least you need to take a oath that for the next 21 days I'm not going to imagine any scenarios. Maybe after 21 days I'll imagine whatever scenarios, I'll again try, maybe whatever, right? But at least for the next 21 days, no investments, no micro investments. So withdraw your mental investment completely, your emotional invest completely for the next 21 days. And the third thing is, if you cannot do this, so I'll give you a third option. Third option is go for a direct attempt. It's like clean attempt, one clean attempt. Either it's a full yes or a full no. Now ask her out cleanly. Close the loop once and for all. Ask her out for a date. Just go. Be very direct, clear. You like Italian food? Let me take you out in one of the best restaurants which serves the best Italian food, and we'll go out, we'll have Italian food. Either she'll say yes, she'll say no, you're done. Or just be more direct if you're in some situation where you want to move things ahead. Just talk to her about whatever it is. Get a clean yes or no and get done with it once and for all. So what that will do is your mind will actually feel like you have closed the loop, and it will kind of feel like a release where you stop thinking of the person and you stop thinking of the possibilities, and it will actually help you move on completely. Because you see, ambiguity is a fuel to obsession, and what I'm telling you here is kill the ambiguity completely, get a clarity, get a clear yes or no. And the fourth thing I would suggest you is, the most important thing is, you need to try to build your identity outside of women. Women should not define your identity. You need to train hard, put in more efforts in your business, put in more efforts in your career, grow more emotionally, get more social exposure, develop some skills, develop some charisma, develop some dating skills. I'm teaching you on this channel. Have multiple goals in your life. Have bigger goals in your life, in fact. So what you will realize is that you were not chasing that one girl just because you thought she was special, or you felt she was special, or you were attached or obsessed. You were doing so because your life, in your mind, you've kept it too small. You chased because your world was too small and it was much more surrounded, your world was much more surrounded around her. So you need to have a bigger picture for yourself and make your world bigger. You need to have more things going on in your life. That I would recommend you do. You need to take pen and paper, sit down, write your thoughts, write where you want to go, what kind of life you want to live. Get your masculine center back to yourself that was derailed. And you'll see changes, and you'll see your life leveling up very fast. So I hope this helps. This is Prayan signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.